Hello and welcome. My name is Elizabeth Sabet, and I am a transformational and transpersonal life coach in Lubbock, Texas. And this week, my talk is going to be about the trouble with transformation. Hi, everyone. I drove in from Boulder yesterday, from Boulder to Lubbock, and I needed to stop at IKEA. And I've never been there before, but I wanted to pick some stuff up. I had no idea that IKEA was so big and it was going to take 3 hours. So it was a pretty rough ride back. I didn't get back till like almost 1 o'clock in the morning and had to be up at 6. So it was a really short night, but well worth it. I'm getting ready to move my practice back to my home office in the month of September here, and then I'll have an open house in October. But IKEA kind of saved my butt in getting some things I needed for the house. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you as I was driving back last night. I had a lot of time to think about today's talk, and I had a really long conversation with a friend of mine on the way back that kind of helped me pick today's topic. You know, a lot of us on the transformational journey started from a place of hitting bottom. That's where real transformation really takes place. I mean, some people don't have to hit bottom before they get to that place, and others do. Either way that it comes to you, that the call for transformation comes to you, it's a way of looking at your world from the place where you are in this moment and looking at the you that you want to be in the future that you're not yet. And so often when we begin the transformational journey and we look at where we are now and where we want to be, or who we are now and who we want to be in the future, it's not uncommon for guilt and depression and hopelessness to set in, and along with shame. And those are really very difficult parts of the journey that we have to face. We can't have transformation without dealing with guilt, shame, depression, and hopelessness. It's just the way it works. Because if you don't face that, you're at risk for what's called spiritual bypassing. You know, just kind of bypassing all of those parts of yourself that you don't really want to look at or you think aren't too important, and you cover them up with spiritual practices, or if you're not a spiritual person, you might cover them up with trying to be a good person and doing that in different ways. I've seen people volunteer until they drop, right? That they can't volunteer, they can't take care of their lives because they're volunteering so much. In this process of coming to a place of settling into ourselves where the transformation, the change can take place, it's really important that we have mighty companions that we can be with, that we can talk to, that can help us face our guilt, our shame, our fear, and our sense of hopelessness in a way that doesn't take us down. Because if you're somebody that's at a place of bottom, and it could be an emotional bottom, where you're grieving and you can't get above it, you can't seem to shake it or move through it or allow it to transform into gratitude at some point. If you're in those places, it's really dangerous to be alone. So one of the troubles of transformation is aloneness. And if you are going through transformation and you're feeling alone, I encourage you to reach out to people that you trust to be helpful and encouraging, honest, but helpful and encouraging. You don't have to take this journey alone. There's so many people around you. Even if you're alone, I promise you there are people that if you reached out, you might be surprised what their response would be to you. If you really do feel like you are all alone and there's nobody that you feel comfortable reaching out to, then I encourage you to call out to Spirit. Call out to Spirit with all of your heart and ask for help. Ask for an earthly companion or an earthly helper. And I think you'd be really surprised at what would happen. I've heard so many stories of people hitting that terrible place of loneliness and feeling like they really don't have anyone to reach out to that they would trust or feel comfortable with, and that they called out to Spirit, to God, to Christ, and the next day they get a phone call, or the next day they run into somebody at the grocery store that really reaches out to them and that changes their life. I've heard way too many experiences to not know that our calls are answered if we just will actually make that call. The other trouble with transformation is time. We want things to happen in a way that's quick, that's expedient, that reduces our suffering as quickly as possible. And sometimes what we have to be with is the reality that it may take time to heal, maybe a physical issue, an emotional issue, a financial issue. So the other trouble with transformation is coming to a place of acceptance that this might take some time. And in the meantime that it's taking time, there are things that you can do to have peace. Meditation, having a community of friends, having fun things that you enjoy doing once in a while, and committing to actually going out and doing those fun things and lightening the load. Because transformation eventually gets really fun and we become really happy and grateful. And somebody asked me not too long ago, why are you so happy? And I said, I guess I'm a happy person. And they said, how can you be happy? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess from the outside it might look like I should be really sad because of my second marriage ending in divorce. But actually I am a really happy person because I've had help going down into the depths of my own ego and my own psyche and clearing out those old programs and beliefs that have been limiting and damaging. And it's true, the more that we just keep finding that which in ourselves needs to be loved and opening up to the love around us and allowing others to love us, allowing the love of God to come into us, we really start lightening up. So it is encouraging. It might take some time, but it is encouraging that we really can be happy people regardless of what we've gone through. And we realize that eventually it is a choice to know ourselves and to surrender to that higher power within us that created us. Another trouble with transformation is changing relationships. Our relationships around us will eventually change, and they don't all change for the worse. I mean, most of them change for the better, because the more that we're honest with ourselves, the more that we can be honest with others. The more that we're able to be with ourselves lovingly, we can be with others lovingly, and we no longer judge ourselves and we don't judge others. And people feel safer around us, and they enjoy us more when we become less judgmental. And transformation is really the key to becoming a loving, kind, non-judgmental person. Well, I'm going to make this a short talk today because it was a late night last night and I need to get caught up. But I wanted to remind you that our meditation in the park here in Lubbock, Texas is going to be at May Simmons Park on the west side of Martin Luther King. Right next to the water. So be looking for us at 6 o'clock this Thursday, unless it's raining. If it's raining, we'll cancel. I know we're supposed to have rain all week long. If it's not raining, meet me out there. All right, lovely people. Remember that transformation really is a joy, even if it seems challenging while you're going through it. And remember to reach out. Bye.